What if I told you that your vote doesn't mean a damn thing, that every president, red or blue, was pre-selected long before you stepped into that voting booth? Think about it. You know, I've been thinking about this for quite some time now, but Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, different names, same war, same lobbyists, same surveillance state, same policies dressed up in different packaging. They hand you a Coke or Pepsi and call it democracy. And a lot of this boils down to because the president, truthfully, is not the one running the country. It's the uniparty, unfortunately. Presidents have their hands tied. The real power, though, is the permanent class, the ones that never leave. It's not about right versus left. It's about them versus you. If you look at Lindsey Graham, who has been a politician forever, nobody likes him in his own state. It's incredible that he keeps getting elected, right? Every 4 years, they flip the script. Democrat wins, then Republican, then Democrat again. And every time you think you're getting change, but the machine keeps moving. You get a temporary pause in the culture war, but the New World Order doesn't stop. The agenda doesn't sleep at all. Globalism advances. Foreign aid skyrockets. The dollar continues to crumble. Inflation goes through the roof. The working class keeps getting crushed. And when you finally get sick of one side, they throw you a lifeline, your hero. Here's your Republican savior. And then 4 years later, you're back to the progressive boot on the neck. That's the way it's been looking. It's a revolving door designed to give you just enough hope to keep you from burning the whole thing down. Think about it. Imagine if the Democrats had won for this election. You saw what happened in 2020. What do you think would happen now? People had been ready to burn the whole thing down, but they got a release valve. Makes sense. Part of the script. WCW, maybe. Maybe the 4D chess is on you and I. And just on that note, Hulk Hogan passed away. I'm sure you've seen. If you're an 80s kid, yeah, that one hit hard. But, you know, if we want to talk about Donald Trump came in, and while a lot of people are mad, it's because he was supposed to be the man of transparency. We saw that in his first presidency. Now, he had a lot of bad people around him. Mike Pompeo, you know, full of swamp. He didn't know any better. And this time we're noticing some things like the drones. Oh, well, it's just hobby drones. And, you know, he's backing Lindsey Graham still for the midterms. You know, the swamp drainer, the outsider, the guy who would blow the doors off the deep state. So why is this drama with the Epstein files? Jeffrey Epstein, when asked under oath if he ever socialized with Donald Trump with underage girls, he invoked the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment. Not just a no comment. He lawyered up hard. Check it out.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th.
Now, at the stage of this deposition or whatever, they were already on the outs. So we don't know if he said that to kind of, you know, throw some slant at Trump. Apparently there was some kind of, they were going after the same real estate or what have you, or maybe something. They did have underage girls around. Maybe it was on the flights or what have you. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's now cooperating with the DOJ. And Trump, when asked today if he would pardon her, he says he has the ability to. Here we go.
Consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended it.
It's I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought
But
about.
you wouldn't rule it out, sir.
Why has Mr. President?
Out of his meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. What are you hoping Todd Blanche gets out of his meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, I don't know about the meeting. I know it's taking place, and he's a fantastic man. He's a great attorney, and people should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them, they talk about me.
He's right to the degree that the media is only talking about Epstein and Trump. Okay. Trump has alluded to that he's in a lot of the documents. We don't know what detail, but he's absolutely correct on the fact is the media is not saying Bill Clinton. And we know they had a close relationship, but we also know that Donald Trump had a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein as well as Ghislaine Maxwell. I think he could probably share more details. He's just not. Because I think if he does, he burns the whole machine, including himself. That's why. I'm not saying that he committed a crime, but he could have. An innocent man wouldn't be hiding. I mean, just to be honest. Or it could be the documents state a bunch of things that are not true. I don't put it past the Biden regime. But I did vote for transparency. And I'm not for trying to call this a hoax like it's been called for weeks, right? And let me just say this to all those people that have been upset with me or other people. Let me be straight with you. When you're not allowed to question the leader, you're not in a movement, you're in a cult. Hands down. You're in a cult, okay? You're worshiping another man. You know, and I see if you notice the paid influencers, the one that are on payroll, they post the exact same things. If you follow them on Instagram, they post the exact, not so much on YouTube, but Instagram, I think is their biggest target. They'll post the same exact things, right back to back. You know, like they're told to on script. So your feed gets flooded. And there's a big reason for that. But being in a cult is not something that I'm going to be part of. From what I've seen, dude, Trump could walk into Comet Ping Pong holding a box of VHS tapes, and half the Truth Social would say, trust the plan. You know, and this is where it gets darker, though. In 2012, I mentioned this the other day, Barack Obama signed in the Smith-Mont Modernization Act. That law legalized something your government had been doing illegally for decades, running propaganda on U.S. citizens. Before that, the Smith-Mont Act of 1948 banned it. But now your tax dollars are funding the lies you read every single day or see. That's why The View, all these CNN, all these networks are pumping this propaganda. Operation Mockingbird didn't end, it evolved, it changed names. The CIA has long embedded assets in every major media outlet. CBS, CNN, the New York Times, Reuters, Hollywood, movies. But I'll say this, like, especially a lot of the old school anchors, they were, some of them, assets, and maybe some now. Some people say Anderson Cooper is one. I wouldn't doubt it. It's also bled over to social media. Hence why this topic alone right now is being shut down. You're not getting views on this. They don't want you talking about it. They don't need they don't need reporters anymore because of that reason. They need to be able to control the algorithms. They censor, shadow ban, throttle, fact check you into submission and ask the wrong question, and you're digitally executed. And if you want to talk through foreign control, you may not know this, but 85% of Congress is financially tied to AIPAC. That's not a percentage I put on my ass. That is a real percentage. They believe up to 90% of Congress is financially tied to AIPAC. That is a pro-Israel nation lobbyist group. And I make the distinction, the state of Israel, the nation state, the one created by UN. That is not an alliance. That's what you call ownership. Now, the thing that is unique to this is Republicans and Democrats alike line up to serve the foreign power. If you question it, you're called anti-American. Meanwhile, you can't get a VA appointment, and Israel gets billions of dollars of aid without blinking. Now, conservatives are starting to wake up. You're hearing a lot of it. There's a movement. They're saying, is this really America first, or is it MIGA? Because that's why I believe, truthfully, AIPAC will shift left. Mark my words, heading into 2026 midterms and 2028 presidential election, they will fund more Democrats because they don't care about red or blue. They care about control. And if MAGA will not bow anymore, they'll build a new puppet, period. I want to show you a clip of Tammy Bruce here. This is Trump State Department spokesperson. Listen to what she has to say.
Able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people. And in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel.
Why did that have to be said? Why did that have to be said? I don't know if you know about this guy, former KGB defector. I've spoke about him a lot over the years. He laid this out decades ago. He said the U.S. would collapse from something known as ideological subversion, not war. A lot of people think Red Dawn's going to happen, and that's not the way it's going to happen. I've been trying to get this through the skulls for years, but people can't grasp it. We're not going to have Red Dawn occur. The process starts off with demoralization, destroy the values, ruin the family, flood the education with poison. Number 2 is destabilize, divide the people, crush the economy, sow chaos. Number 3 is crisis, make people desperate enough to beg for order. And then 4 is normalization, lock in the new regime under illusions of stability. He warned that even if you show people the truth, they won't believe it. Not until a military boot crushes their ass. And I'm seeing that right now. My short the other day where it said, lock her up. And then people are like, no, he doesn't mean that. You show them, you're believing CNN. I'm showing the man saying it himself and then clapping at the inauguration. I'm showing that those are his words. But people will not accept it. No, trust the plan. He was doing it because of real estate investing. Listen to Yuri Besimov.
Subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages.
Those 4 basic stages what I just went over, but as you can see, even with evidence, they won't believe. And I'm seeing that firsthand right now.
That unlike myself, you have literally several years to live on unless
this is his warning.
The United States wake up. The time bomb is ticking. With every second the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to.
You'll have nowhere to defect to.
Unless you want to live in Antarctica with penguins. This is it. This is the last country of freedom and possibility.
Okay, so what do we do? What is your recommendation to the American people?
Well, the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, of course, there must be a very strong national effort to educate people in the spirit of real patriotism, number one. Number two, to explain them the real danger of socialist, communist, whatever, welfare.
You have people begging on both sides for socialism. They don't call it that on the right. The left will call it what it is. But even people on the right, some of the policies they want are socialist policies, trying to break down and make everybody equal. It happens. It's why you see people without jobs driving new Chargers with $5,000 rims and tire packages on them. It's already happening, even under red or blue leadership. And people beg for it. It's not surprising in the least bit, because a lot of what happens on a day-to-day basis, that we are indoctrinated with propaganda, psychological operations in every turn you make, no matter whose side you're on. It even happens in the churches. The Western church, by and large, and I'm not saying every church or every Christian, but by and large are made to be pacifists. They're made to be weak individuals. You can say and do things to the Christian community that would never happen in Islamic, Judaism, or any other religious base for that matter. But Christianity is taught to take a knee and bow because they don't want to offend anyone. It's happening at every turn and every step of our life. I believe that we're in the final phase, and the masses are essentially cheering it on. And let me just show you a couple other clips here.
Immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing.
It probably helps him a lot.
So this is what the title of the video is about. Everybody's saying, look, Obama up, he committed treason. Nothing's going to happen to him. Listen to the man again. He said it out loud.
Presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing.
It probably helps him a lot. Probably helps him a lot, the immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. He's done criminal acts, there's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot.
He goes on to say he owes me. So what that means is nothing's going to happen to Barack Obama. Maybe some people around him, maybe low-level players. But Barack Obama, by what Tulsi Gabbard has stated, is he was the ringleader of a coup, treason. I personally feel that presidential immunity should not be there. It should not even be allowed. Not to mention, should we not investigate what he did outside of his presence? He went to the West Wing 310 days out of 365 during the Biden presidency. So what has he done outside of that presidential immunity? And does presidential immunity allow you to commit treason? Treason is can be punished up to death. I don't think our forefathers would have liked to let someone off with immunity for treason. Just don't believe that. Another interesting fact is why the system's broken is because a brave reporter asked Tulsi Gabbard today, why was this did not come out during his first presidency when they had the files?
You declassified these documents, if I'm not mistaken, Friday of last week, correct?
We released them on Friday of last week, the first tranche, yes.
This isn't the first time that President Trump has been president of the United States. He was president from 2017 to 2021. Couldn't the prior DNI under President Trump have declassified these documents? And why didn't that DNI do that at that time?
I can't speak to what happened there. There were several DNIs under the first Trump administration. President Trump faced many challenges from those who were working in the government who sought to undermine his presidency. That's been clearly detailed. What I can speak to is the fact that this was one of the first things that.
So it's been broken.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about.
It reminds me really of wrestling, like WCW. It really does, you know. But we have now too the shift that Ghislaine Maxwell could be a victim.
And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be.
Wow.
There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that's...
News Nation, she more than hung out. She helped traffic young girls. You know, I always say this. No one is coming, guys. Not Trump, not RFK, not DeSantis, not the military, not some secret black ops mission. There's no secret military tribunals because at the end of the day, they're all funded, guys. They're all funded. And I've told you the answer. Who's funding them? 85 to 90%. They're protected. The same people protecting this blackmail ring. They're either compromised by the blackmail machine. That's happened. I watched a documentary on that like 10 years ago on Mark Sanford, the governor here, the previous governor. They were setting him up to run for president. And then he shifted. They didn't like it. So they blackmailed him, then dumped a lot of evidence against him. Lost his seat. They all have the same donors, red and blue. The same intelligence handlers, the same protection rackets. If you want to hear it from Vladimir Putin right here, he said this. I played this video a few years ago. I think this is about 4 years old. But he lays it out as well. He lays it out.
Общался и с одним президентом США, и с другим, и с третьим. Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии. Вот человека избрали, он приходит с одними идеями, к нему приходят люди с кейсами, хорошо одетые и в темных, как у меня, костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять, как
He's kind of funny. He's a funny guy.
меняется.
But he goes on to say essentially that they come in with great ideas as presidents. Then the men in the dark suits show up with briefcases. And it says how things are going to be ran. And that's what I believe too, to be honest. Now, if you want to survive what's coming, be aware, be frosty of the psychological operations that happen every day, everywhere you turn. They're softening you to certain new ideologies. Go watch any kind of Disney program for children. You'll see it. So be aware of that. Build, defend, and lead. That's your only path forward. Someone asked me in the comments yesterday, so why don't you run for president? Do you not know, and you can Google this, you need a minimum of $500 million to $1 billion to run for president. Google it. It's true. There is no grassroots guys running and winning the presidential election. You won't even make it to the primaries. Then let's say I did raise the money by donors. I'd wind up being owned too. I'd have to take the money from the guys in the dark suits that wind up telling me what to do. The CIA perfected regime change. They perfected it. But now it's being used on us. This is how they flip nations, okay? First off, they discredit the opposition. You've seen this happen here with Donald Trump. They flood the media with psyops. They create unrest. Then they call for martial law. They install a puppet who saves the people. Who is the puppet? Joe Biden. That's not Venezuela. That's not January 6th. I'm sorry, that's January 6th. That's COVID lockdowns. That's digital censorship wrapped in national security theater, like what happened with the Patriot Act. The Church Committee warned us back in the 1970s that if this government turned its power inward, it could impose total tyranny. Well, guess what? It did. It's just not what you thought it was going to be. It was not wrapped in the same bouquet that you thought it would be. At first, the machine feared Donald Trump. He wasn't controlled. He questioned everything. I'm about positive he didn't take AIPAC money during his first presidency. That's why they gave him such hell. He threatened the FBI, the CIA, and the media. So what did? Raided him, impeached him, censored him, framed him. Textbook CIA coup protocol. And when that didn't work, they wound up co-opting him. Now he's protecting these clients, the evidence. He says the deep state's bad, but says, well, he's got immunity. Not getting handcuffs aren't getting put on Fauci, Milley. That's what the deep state does best. If they can't kill a movement, they wind up leading it. And they think it's still happening. It's 4D chess, they say. Trust the plan. You ask yourself why Jeffrey was protected for decades. If they had something on Trump in those files, they would have brought it out during this past right before election. He was running a blackmail pipeline. We all know by who. He filmed Rich and Powerful and then owned them forever. Presidents, prime ministers, bankers, billionaires, Hollywood executives. And don't think that this tactic was not used. Look at Diddy. Diddy just got off. If you go look at how Diddy started, he started by the same group of people as well. His operation just flooded a different market, a different control lever. That's the system. That's how they control both parties. That's how they control the narratives and every outsider who climbs too high. What happens when you start getting growth on YouTube or any other social media platform? Because you're speaking truth, you get stalled. Been 660,000 for 4 or 5 years. Can't be possible. Can't be possible. No new growth. Not even one guy wants to watch a video. If you're a new guy here, less than a month, let us know in the comments. Maybe they don't change the numbers. You got more followers, but the numbers don't change. I don't know. It's not a democracy. It's not a constitutional. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. And I believe the constitutional republic is turned into a managed illusion. I don't know. If you look back in history, like I said the other day, you can see a lot of these things. It's already been used before. They're using the same playbook over and over again. People are also too distracted by culture wars, and culture war wins. They're getting sold into slavery on both sides. They don't even know it. You can't wait for a politician to fix it. You got to build your body, train your mind, guard your children, control your income, and fortify your tribe. Because truthfully, the system is beyond reform, in my opinion. And I see a lot of people comment this week even, I can't watch these videos anymore. It's just nothing's going to get better. Unfortunately, it's probably not. That's why you still live your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. But don't be dumb. You need to be prepared for the absolute worst. And those few things I just laid out should be the most important things. Absolutely. You know, fortifying your tribe, having people you can trust. And that's a hard thing in this world. Finding loyal people is a difficult thing. A good friend of mine passed away last week. And one of my closest friends, I went to go see him at the hospital the night before he passed. He was alone. Nobody was there. And I mean, I hated to see him like that. But he was one of the most loyal guys I've ever met. Loyal to me to no end. And I was loyal to him to no end. I'm going to be speaking at his funeral tomorrow. It's going to be hard to do that because he's an irreplaceable guy. You know, and the only other time I had to speak at her funeral was in the Marine Corps. A Marine under me died. And I thought, you know, that was a hard time too. So it's not something that I like to do, but you know, I know it's a way to honor them. So I lost a member of my tribe this week. Too young too. Got taken too young. But sometimes that's the way it goes. And it's hard to find that type of friendship, that type of loyalty, people that will do anything for you. But you need to fortify that. Find those people and fortify it. You know, and again, build your body. I preach it all the time, man. We even got products, band kits to work out at home if you can't make it to the gym, supplements. The whole supplement line's coming. I got amino acids as well as these pre-workouts called Trigger. The pre-workouts come in a bag, so you can just throw them in your pack or your back pocket, even your gym bag. And they're gummies. Everything's gummy format for ease, but these will be coming soon with the BCAAs. BCAAs help build muscle if you didn't know amino acids. So we got the creatine, pre-workout, and amino acids, you know. But guarding your children, you know, sometimes you have to cut people out of your life that may be damaged goods. You know, I remember hearing Jay Cutler, the Mr. Olympia, talk about, the negativity. Like he said, you call me with negativity during prep season when he's getting ready for Olympia. He said, I don't even answer the phone. Cut that out of your life, right? Control your income. Obviously, you know, I can go into more ways about that type of stuff. You can reduce so much of waste and maybe work multiple jobs to increase your income and then invest on that. But the thing is that whatever's precious to you, you put that at the forefront of your life and protect it at all costs. And fortify your tribe. Have those people you can count on, you can call, tell them to bring a shovel, and they're ready to go. The system is, again, beyond reform, and the only way out is through the fire. George Orwell said, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. If you don't know who George Orwell is, go Google him and read his books. Okay, he predicted a lot of these things as well. Anyway, guys, before I forget, because I didn't mention it, these Woodland Camo Black Beard, our rendition of, he's got night vision on, a rifle, are in stock. Go grab them. They won't be long because no hats last at blackscoutsurvival.com. They just don't. Can't keep them in stock. So go pick one up, rep your tribe. And guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope I gave you a lot of things to think about. And I'd like to know your thoughts. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But time will tell. Remember to stay frosty. Stay strapped. And always stay dangerous, my friends. Take care.